Alright, let's try this again. So, little fall update, guys. I got all my strawberries in the ground. It's been a little while now, and they're growing pretty good. I wanted to show you how I'm doing these runners here. So, I wish I kind of took a picture earlier, but basically these runners, all these guys, what I did is I just took them and I kind of buried them, like this guy right here. You bury them in the wood chips where it's all wet from the rain or from watering, and it'll give them the moisture to start growing roots. So I just kind of bury it there almost, pack up around it, and then in a week or two it'll have some good length roots on them already, trying to grow into, I've got cardboard layer in here somewhere, like some old cardboard. They'll hit the cardboard and kind of stop there, and so they won't be too hard to pull out and move into a permanent spot. These guys are probably going to stay here, but next spring, once they start really sending out runners, I'll be able to either root them in the wood chips and then move them there, or if the runners are long enough, like some of these guys are actually pretty long. When you look at the distance, that's almost a yard right there alone, and we've got big loops in it. I'll be able to get them all the way over there to replace those guys, because those guys are also pretty old. All 4 of those sets of plants were in one container, and this itself was its own whole container with a little wild one there. So this guy's been doing a little bit better than those ones, which is why I've got all the runners coming off of them. And that's one of the things I really like about the wood chips, is that there's a lot of versatility to it. I know I'm a little late to the game on using them, because I didn't really have a place to get a huge shipment of them. But I've got them now, and I didn't want to wait till next spring for the cardboard to break down, so I just wanted to get everything in the ground immediately. I would recommend, especially if you're just starting in the fall, just get a bunch of wood chips, put it down with some cardboard, and wait till spring at this point. But there's a little bit of time left here in Oregon to grow things, so you can still kind of get things in the ground. These guys are just completely, these ones here are real small because they were actually one and I split them. But these other guys are still producing fruit, and we'll still get a good amount, I think, left before frost. It was really cold this morning. But I've gotten most of my cardboard for this from work, and I know not everybody's going to have that opportunity. I just filled up this little corner here, and I just kind of build it to the edge of the cardboard, and then once I have more and I'm ready, I can just rake it back to overlap a little bit with some new cardboard and then keep going. My raspberries I bought from Costco are not the variety that were labeled. These are ever-bearing instead of June-bearing, so I've got a huge load of flowers off of the tips of these. I was going to have more. Oh, there's a wasp on that one over there. I won't touch that one. This one here had 2 big canes on it that died up over some hot days. I'm not sure why yet, but the rest of that one's still surviving. This one here, this whole branch here came off of this one that also died. I'm not sure why. The rest of the base of the cane, and then all these guys are still good though. This one here's got some flowers on it, so that's going to be a while still. Those ones are going to be a while, but I think this week, there's another wasp on that one. I think this week here, we're going to have these guys here. And then my ozette potatoes, this container's way too big for them, and they're kind of only drying out like one at a time, which is kind of weird because I'm not really sure when. Oh my goodness, look at that. That's a tuber right there, which means I might do that today. I'm going to bury the top layer of this soil with wood chips, because I'm out of scrap soil to backfill here. I was doing an experiment to see how these guys grow. I have like 2 tubers in the very bottom of this container. This is a 55 liter, which is way bigger than it needs to be. but it's a 55 liter. I've got a little flower on it here. Some people say to pluck the flowers. I don't like plucking the flowers. I don't think there's any measurable amount of size that you might lose from it. Maybe I'm just crazy, but I also like having the opportunity to maybe get some seeds from it. The only problem is that ozette cannot self-pollinate, so I need more potato plants. So that's going to be a next year thing. And I'm just going to leave it on there, see what happens. Because I've this particular plant here, this one on this side here, has had like 4 flowers now over the summer. They all fell. This is the healthiest flower I've seen come out of it yet. But, yeah, look at that. I've got a little guy right there. I might just cover that up right now with a little bit of this fresh stuff. And then I'll just have to remember to separate out the chips before I try to dig that out, because I don't want to mix it all up. Basil, doing amazing. Is that beetle again? Yeah, and it's actually eating the leaves here, so I'm going to probably try to kill that next time I see it, because I don't want them eating the leaves on these guys. That's the second time I've seen it on that plant today. Well, that's pretty much all that's going on here. I repotted all my wild strawberry plants. So we got Vesca virginiana from Oregon, Vesca virginiana from Washington, Chiloensis beach strawberry, and native hybrids between the two, or between the beach strawberry and Virginia strawberry. These ones are from up in the mountains. I did not make them myself. They don't really fruit that well, but they do flower a ton. These guys here are manual crosses I did between my 2 Virginias, and they're about ready to get separated. These big ones here are ready to get separated out into their own pots, and then hopefully grow just a little bit bigger, because I want to see fruit off of them next spring. I really, really want to see fruit, because each of those 2 Virginia plants are not self-pollinating. They're not self-fertile, but they will produce fruit when they cross with each other. And I want to see what happens with these guys, because they're technically hybrids now. And I can tell that they're hybrids because they have traits from the father plant that the mother plant did not have. So I know for a fact that these are hybrids. And they're growing way better than the seeds that I got off of the father plant, because it does produce like 1 fruit a year. And it's super tasty, but the seeds that grow from it I've done a couple videos on them now, and they grew very, very scraggly. Each one was a little bit different, but these ones here are all very surprisingly uniform. And I think it's because of that hybrid cross. All the dominant traits from both plants are coming out at the same time. So I'm really excited to share more about that as that develops in the future. Nothing else really going on right now. I just ordered a grape that they only ship in the fall, so I'm going to be putting that out here, and then I have a trellis that I'm going to move over here once I get the wasps out of the inside, because it's hollow. The stems for it are hollow, and I'll put it out here in the fall, and then I'll have like one side is going to be one grape, and then next spring I'm going to get a second grape to put on the other side, so they'll kind of grow up the sides of it in a big old archway. But that's what I've got going right now. And let me show you guys the blueberries before I go. So I've been having this issue with these blueberries. This guy here's huge. They both were the same size when I got them. This guy grew huge. That guy did not. It went red early. And I figured out it was because of the acid. So I started treating it with acid, and the leaves started improving, but then we had 100-degree weather that really like almost killed it. So it survived because I started treating it. It was like 2 months into the treatments. I actually need to give it some more, since I've been doing it once a month. Give it a little bit more. Pull out some of these weeds. I was hoping that I would get maybe some new growth off of it before winter. I'm kind of worried that I won't now, though. And then this guy, all these big ones. This is the old originals that I'm planning on cutting. This is a new growth off of that original stem. But these 3 huge ones are all brand new since like early midsummer. Those came out and they're huge. So that guy is going to be doing really good. I'm going to try to prune it to limit fruit just so it grows a little better next year. I was really hoping on this one, but I'm not sure what's going to happen this winter with it. If I can get a little bit of new growth, then I'll be happy, but I'm not even sure if maybe it's trying to hibernate now since we've been getting colder days. Like all the green-ish leaves have turned yellow and fallen off this guy already. There were a couple left on it. Now I've only got leaves off this guy, and like none have fallen off this guy yet. We're having only a tiny bit of red here, so I've been giving it a little bit of acid just to be safe, but it might also just be because of the cold. There's no way for me to know really. So that's what I've been up to, and maybe I'll have some more to share once I get that grape plant in.